You've seen the headlines, right? The death of the electric truck. The range is a lie. It's just an F-150 with a battery. Everyone has an opinion on the Ford F-150 Lightning, but after living with this thing for a significant amount of time, I've realized most people are asking the entirely wrong questions. We're so obsessed with whether it can tow a 10,000-pound trailer across the Mojave Desert in a blizzard that we're missing the fact that this isn't just a truck. It's quite literally a 7,000-pound Swiss Army knife that might actually be the most underrated power tool in your garage. Today we're going beyond the spec sheet. I'm going to show you why this truck is currently the best kept secret in the used and new car market, why the frunk is actually the least interesting thing about it, and why the haters are actually doing you a favor by keeping the prices down. Let's address the elephant in the room first, the drive. If you've spent your life in a gas-powered F-150, your brain is hardwired to expect a certain rhythm. You expect the roar of the V8 or the high-pitched whistle of the EcoBoost, the slight shudder of the 10-speed transmission searching for the right gear, and that familiar truck-like bounce over potholes caused by a solid rear axle. Forget all of it. Throw the manual out the window. Because the Lightning features an independent rear suspension, a first for the F-150, it handles more like a luxury SUV than a workhorse. It's planted. It's eerie how quiet it is. But when you bury your right foot, that's where the Lightning name stops being a marketing gimmick and starts being a physical threat to your neck muscles. We're talking about 580 horsepower and a staggering 775 pound-feet of torque in the extended range models. That is enough to launch this massive brick from 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. To put that in perspective, you are out-accelerating dedicated sports cars while carrying a load of 2x4s and a flat of Gatorade. It's a cognitive dissonance you never really get tired of. It's the sensation of a skyscraper moving like a jet fighter. Now, everyone and their mother talks about the Mega Power frunk, and yeah, 14.1 cubic feet of lockable, drainable storage where an engine used to be is incredibly cool. It changes how you use a truck, because you finally have a trunk that isn't the back seat. But the clickbait secret nobody tells you is what happens when the lights go out in your neighborhood. We're living in an increasingly unstable power grids and freak storms. This truck isn't just transportation, it is a literal insurance policy parked in your driveway. With Ford Intelligent Backup Power, this truck can power your entire house for up to 3 days, or even 10 if you're rationing your electricity. I'm talking about keeping your fridge running, your lights on, and your Wi-Fi humming, while your neighbors are fumbling for candles in the dark and listening to the deafening roar of a smelly, gasoline-guzzling portable generator. You're sitting in your living room watching Netflix because your truck is plugged into your garage. That's not just a feature, that's a fundamental lifestyle shift. It turns a vehicle from an expense into a critical piece of home infrastructure. Inside the cabin, Ford played a very smart, very calculated game. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel or force you into a minimalist, button-free purgatory like Tesla or Rivian. If you've sat in a modern F-150, you'll feel right at home, which is actually its greatest strength. You get the massive 15.5-inch Sync 4A touchscreen on the higher trims, which is snappy, responsive, and intuitive, but you still get physical knobs for the things that matter, like volume and temperature. One of my absolute favorite hidden touches is the interior work surface. With the push of a button, the gear shifter folds flat into the center console, and the armrest flips forward to create a perfectly flat, sturdy desk. In a world of remote work and hustle culture, this is the ultimate mobile office. I've spent hours in here with a laptop utilizing the truck's built-in 5G Wi-Fi hotspot, and honestly, it's more comfortable than my actual office desk. Plus, if you get the Max recline seats, they fold almost 180 degrees. You can literally take a full-blown nap while you're topping up at a DC fast charger, feeling like you're in a first-class airplane cabin. Let's tackle the controversial stuff head-on: range and charging. The EPA claims 320 miles for the extended range battery, but let's be real, we don't live in an EPA laboratory. In the real world, especially if you're driving in the dead of winter or cruising at 80 miles per hour on the interstate, you need to be realistic with your expectations. You're looking at closer to 240 to 270 miles of safe highway driving. And yes, the rumors are true. If you hook up a massive, boxy travel trailer, that range is going to cut in half. That's just the laws of physics and aerodynamics at play. But here's the unique take that the anti-EV crowd won't tell you. For 95% of truck owners who aren't towing 500 miles a day, the range anxiety is a total myth. You wake up every single morning with a full tank because you charged in your driveway while you slept. The infrastructure is catching up at a blistering pace, too. Now that Ford has officially gained access to the Tesla Supercharger network via an adapter, the biggest headache of owning an EV, the broken charger lottery, is basically a thing of the past. That alone makes the 2026 ownership experience night and day compared to 3 years ago. You now have the most reliable charging network on the planet at your disposal. The utility of this bed is where the Pro Power Onboard system really shines. You've got a panel in the back with multiple 120-volt outlets and even a 240-volt outlet for heavy-duty equipment. This isn't just for charging your phone. You can literally run a circular saw, a miter saw, and a battery charger simultaneously at a job site without even breaking a sweat. I've seen people run entire tailgate parties, complete with electric grills and big screen TVs, off the back of this truck, and the battery percentage barely moves. Then you look at the tailgate itself. It's powered, it has a built-in ruler, mobile device holders, and even a bottle opener. Ford didn't just build an electric truck, they built a tool that happens to be electric. It's designed for people who actually do things, not just people who want to look like they do things. So what's the real catch? Why isn't every single person driving one of these? The truth is, the price has been a total roller coaster since launch. When these first came out, the markups were insane, and the early adopters paid a hype tax. Then the market cooled, and depreciation on those early models was steep. But that is actually the pro tip for you watching right now. Because the mainstream media is currently obsessed with the idea that EVs are failing, Lightnings, both new and lightly used, are finding at prices that finally make absolute sense. When you factor in the $7,500 federal tax credit and the radical reduction in operating costs, the math starts to look incredible. You'll never pay for an oil change again, you'll never replace a spark plug, a timing belt, or a transmission flush. You are getting the most technologically advanced F-Series ever produced for the price of a well-equipped gas Lariat. It's the ultimate buy low opportunity, while everyone else is distracted by the headlines. The Ford F-150 Lightning isn't the right choice for the guy who needs to drive non-stop from Texas to Montana without a single break. If that's your life, stick with the diesel. But for the person who wants a truck that's faster than a Mustang, quieter than a Lincoln, and has the capability to save your family's comfort during a power blackout, there's simply nothing else on the road that touches it. It's not just a good electric truck, it's a better version of the F-150 for the way most people actually live their lives. It's a powerhouse, a mobile office, and a backup generator, all wrapped in a familiar, tough-as-nails package. If you're still sitting on the fence, go drive one, but be warned, your traditional gas-powered truck is going to feel like a vibrating, noisy relic from the Victorian era the moment you get back in it. The future didn't just arrive, it's parked in the driveway, and it's waiting for you to plug in.